Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the 3X Value Growth Podcast. My name is Carrie Sauls, Value Growth Advisor to the lower middle market, and author of the book, Multiply Your Business Value in 3 Steps. The 3X Value Growth Podcast is a forum to hear from advisors with the expertise and advice that you need now to ensure that your lower middle market company can reach its full potential. Tune in to hear from experts who generously share their expertise to help owner-led businesses crack the code on multiplying the value of their business in any economy. Today, we are joined by Dr. Mike Armour. Welcome, Mike.
Thank you. Good to be with you.
It's so good to have you here. Where are you calling in from?
Dallas.
Dallas. Okay, and I'm up in New Hampshire.
Right.
Very different world. Okay. Well, thank you again, Mike, for joining me here so that our audience understands why you're a perfect fit for this show. Let me give a little bit of your background. Dr. Mike Armour combines lifelong leadership experience in high-level positions with passion for helping leaders meet their most pressing challenges. He has coached over 600 executives, managers, and entrepreneurs, and has trained thousands more on 4 continents. He is also a podcaster, blogger, and an author published in over 24 languages. Welcome again, Dr. Mike Armour.
Thank you. It's great to be with you.
It is. And our interview today is 7 questions in 7 minutes on the topic of, above all, build trust. So let's get started. Number 1 question for you, Mike. Who's your ideal client?
Well, I don't think of my ideal client in the terms of a particular market segment or a particular industry. I've coached across dozens of industries and everything from frontline supervisors to the staff of prime ministers. What I'm looking for is a certain attitude. And what I'm looking for is that executive, entrepreneur, manager, leader who recognizes that to get where they want to go, they need to expand on what got them to where they are. And if they're receptive to that, that's my client.
So building on that, what is the problem that you're solving for these middle market leaders?
I think it's really 3 things at the level that your audience is from. I sum it up as 3 C's. It's clarity, culture, and communication. That is, many times they have either allowed or they have allowed their clarity on their values, their beliefs about those values, the principles that they deduce from those beliefs, and the practices that come out of those principles. They've allowed those things to get muddled. And that happens as we grow and new people come in and new voices are added to the mix. And little by little, we find that we're not clear on some of the core things. So coming back to that core clarity is one thing. Second is culture. I'm very much concerned with people knowing what culture they need to develop. For instance, right now, I'm developing an online course on how to build a high-performance team. I'm loading up the front end of it with a lot of stress on how important it is to define the kind of culture you need to have high performance so that you can create that culture. Or you get the same thing if someone says, I want a company that's a kingmaker today, and that means I've got to be fast, nimble, and innovative. Fine, but what kind of culture do you need for that? And then the third is communication. I'm yet to go into any company of any size on any continent that said to me, you know, we don't really have any communication problems around here. Everybody has communication problems. And so that's the 3rd C.
That's great. So my 3rd question for you, Mike, is what are the typical symptoms that you see owners experiencing or that they are talking about in this area?
When they call me and I'm just doing a preliminary evaluation of whether I could be of help, the thing perhaps I hear more often than not is that I need more from my team than I'm getting, and I don't seem to be able to get beyond the present level of performance. When I drill down a little bit further, it turns out that people are usually talking about such things as there are too many key players who are not really good at people skills, or that, again, coming back to our communication, members of the management team are not on the same page, and they're pulling in different directions. It all comes back to making that essential team more functional, and people looking for help in making that happen.
That's a great answer. So, from your experience, what are the most common mistakes that you see owners making when they try to fix this on their own?
Well, I think the most common is not seeing the deeper problem beneath the problem that they are focused on. Almost inevitably, when we start probing, there's a deeper problem. Let's come back to our topic of trust. I began to focus on trust as a key component of my speech making, my training, my coaching about 20 years ago. When companies would call me and say, we've got a problem with communication, we've got a problem with customer service, we've got a problem with slow decision making, I would go in and begin to evaluate those issues and discovered that as we peeled back the layers of the onion, down underneath there somewhere, we found either unrecognized, unaddressed, or unresolved issues of trust. And when we dealt with those issues, the other problems took care of themselves. Communication opened up. People were more willing to share their contrary opinions to those that were the majority thought at the table. They began to engage more fully in collaborative discussions as a result, and the problems began to solve themselves. That's really, I think, one of the primary things. The other is being able to be honest about the flat side of their own wheel. My mentor of many, many years would say repeatedly to me, we all have a flat side on our wheel someplace. The sooner we can recognize what that flat side is and build people and systems around us to compensate for it, the sooner we'll be successful and the more successful we will be. And one of the things that I often find is that owners are trying to solve the problem in their company without really stopping to say, what are my strengths? What are my limitations? What's the flat side of my wheel? And how do I structure around my own limitations?
I love putting it into the phrase of the flat side of the wheel, because I talk about all of that all the time. It's so important, but that's a great phrase to capture it, definitely.
Yeah, right.
So my fifth question for you, Mike, is what's a valuable free action you can recommend to our listeners that they can take right now to increase the value of their business?
Well, I'm a firm believer that anywhere you increase trust, you increase value, because you're going to have a more engaged workforce, which means you're going to have a more productive company. You're going to have better engagement with customers, which means you're going to have a more profitable company. As a result, I want to just suggest that people look at whether or not they are creating a culture and an atmosphere of trust. And there are a lot of dimensions of that, but I want to just focus on one dimension. When you find a place where trust is high in an organization, you will find that there is an atmosphere that is running. There is a feeling in the air. And it's a feeling that I am safe, I am informed, I'm respected, I'm valued, and I'm understood.
Beautiful.
People need to feel safe, informed, respected, valued, and understood. And it's interesting to just begin a dialogue with your workers, with your employees, with your management team, to find out, do they feel in this culture that they are safe, informed, respected, valued, and understood?
Perfect.
Because to the degree those things are weak, trust will be in poor repair.
So my sixth question, building on all of that they can actually work on now, what's a valuable free resource that you can direct people to from you that will actually help them further in solving this problem?
Well, one place that I would send them is my website and a section of that website that's called Free Stuff. It's leaderperfect.com/free stuff. And in particular, there is one ebook that they can download there on helping people succeed. And the subtitle is Leading from a Servant Perspective. When we lead from a servant perspective, we set the kind of atmosphere where trust takes root rather easily, far more easily than in other styles of management. So that's the place that I think I would refer people. And they'll find on that page a number of other helpful things too that are free for download.
Perfect. And my last question for you, Mike, is what's one question I should have asked you and didn't? What's that question, and what would your answer be, please?
I think it is, what do we do to help business leaders, business owners, get a sense of their real purpose in life? It's not building a great business. It's something bigger than that. For instance, when I finally figured out what my purpose was, it focused my career and my profession in a way that nothing else could. What I came to realize that my purpose is to help people succeed by giving them clarity and insight. I was good at both of those things. And I just came alive when I was doing that for people. And once that happened, then I was being energized by the things I chose to do because I was choosing the right things to do. And I think it's very important for any leader or business owner to have figured out, what is my purpose above the goals and objectives of this role I happen to be playing in this company?
Excellent, excellent. Thank you so much, Dr. Mike Armour, for joining us here on the 3X Value Growth Podcast. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you.
The mission we set for the 3X Value Growth Podcast is to make critical information available to owners of private businesses that will help them easily multiply the value of their business. The 3X Value Growth system we offer leverages our proprietary analytics, platform, and client portal to address quantitative, performance excellence, and risk factors to increase EBITDA. To learn how you can multiply the value of your business threefold in just 3 years, check out 3xvaluegrowth.com/model for a free PDF. You'll be invited to attend our next demo of the 3X Value Growth Program on a free monthly webinar of what works in the lower middle market. Thanks for checking out our 3X Value Growth Podcast. If you like what we're doing here, head on over to Apple Podcasts and subscribe. Leave us a review or rate us. It's very much appreciated.